Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the InterSim Esports Network once again for your Sunday night of viewing. Tonight we bring you round number 7 of the My Private Seller Australasian Supercar eSeries. Your location is Atlanta Motorspeedway. My name's Aidan Schultz. Joining me in the booth tonight is none other than a man that you would know through a lot of other broadcasts, the man himself, the myth, the legend, Carl Wilkinson-Withy. Good evening to you, Carl. Thank you for joining us here for round number 7.
Good evening, Aidan. Good evening, everybody. It is an absolute pleasure to be here on InterSim Esports Network and covering the Australasian Supercar series. Thank you very much for having me tonight.
Our absolute pleasure, mate. Supercars around an oval, not usually a ingredient that people would usually see. Supercars around an oval, but I tell you what, it creates some sensational racing. So a little bit of a baptism of fire here tonight for you. Used to calling a lot of NASCAR stuff, truck stuff, everything through the oval sector. We're still in the oval world, but we're driving a V8 supercar around an oval. How do you feel about that?
Oh, look, I've seen a few different things called, and I've called a few different things on ovals, from skippies to of course, some GTs, but it is actually my first time calling V8s on an oval, so that is an interesting bit. The supercars on an oval is something that is always fascinating. These things are tremendous fun to drive just in general, but on an oval it's a completely different ball game. These things are so very quick. Of course, they've got a lot more downforce. They're a lot more sort of downforce sensitive than your standard stock car, so it changes up the racing a lot, and a fair amount of horsepower to boot, so these things must be extremely fun in a draft.
100%, and I hope the drivers do a lot better than what we just saw there with a couple of drivers down in the grass. But we are 28 and a half minutes into the 30-minute practice session here, Carl. And Justin Witcher, your two-time reigning and defending champion, albeit not the season he's wanted to through the first 6 rounds so far. He's currently setting the provisional quickest time here in practice with 31.19. Aaron Dillon out of Simboys, he's there with a 31.21, not to be outdone by Barry Neal by RT Auto Racing. I can never pronounce that, please save me. He's there with 31.21, and Toddy Maxfield up there with a 31.22, and Gary Wellman from Simboys 31.23. So if we look currently through practices, we've got about another 45 seconds to go before we're going to jump into this 5-minute standalone qualifying session. There is probably only about 5/1000ths of a second between the top 8 drivers, and a big mention to Andy Barber. He's in 8th spot at the moment in practice. Southern Stars Esports Racing, my teammate, but second in the championship coming into this round, so he'll be looking for a good solid night tonight, Carl.
Yeah, absolutely, and he's ahead of the championship leader at the moment, Mr. Raymond Yeager himself. So being up in front of your championship rival is always a good thing in practice, but of course when it comes to qualifying, things do change a little bit, and practice pace is one thing, qualifying pace is another thing. It's going to be an important thing to get that qualifying lap right, to get yourself up at the front of the field so you can avoid any nasty little accidents that can happen here on the ovals here, especially here at Atlanta, a very fast track.
Yeah, 100% agree there. But as we go into the qualifying session, as we have become accustomed to here on the InterSim Esports Network for the My Private Seller Australasian Supercar eSeries, where you qualify does not generally matter where you finish, because we're going to go 3 wide, and we're going to go 3 wide early. We're at Atlanta. There are 2 different grooves in a stock car. They create 3 grooves here in a supercar. So we'll see how that happens. Nicholas Walsh, he's accustomed to coming out first in qualifying. He likes to set his lap down early, so the 0.22 of Nicholas Walsh from Simboys, he's going to set a lap early, and he's going to set the benchmark, and we'll see who's going to take it to him at the top as we see Nicholas Walsh come through turns number 3 and 4, and he'll take the green flag for his first time lap tonight.
Yeah, coming up towards turns 1 and 2 here. Got to get this section right. Go down nice and low. Keep the car nice with speed through this section of the corner as you exit turn 2 onto the back straight here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Getting up to speeds of almost 300 kilometers per hour. You get into the corners here at 3 and 4 again. going up high, turning the car in nice and low, catching that mid-groove. Got to be careful of some of the bumps low. Don't want to go too low, of course, because it can unsettle the car. Don't want to go too high because you'll clip a wall. Getting across the sort of triangle-ish section here at Atlanta, that sets him up towards the top of the times, but it is Aaron Dillon currently in the lead.
Yeah, and the timesheets are absolutely lighting up at the top, Carl. Aaron Dillon at the top with 31.32. Todd Maxfield, 31.36. Kay Donnelly to the top, if you don't mind, with a 31.27. Tommy Pritchard there from Southern Stars Esports Racing in his first lap there, 31.37. They're changing as quick as I can change my underpants here. So we'll see how it happens. But this is what it's all about. 5 minute, 2 lap standalone qualifying. Who's going to take pole here for round number 7 of the My Private Seller Australasian Supercar eSeries? We'll find out in the next 2.5 minutes. But at the moment, provisionally, Kay Donnelly is there at the top with a 31.27. And if we remember just 2 rounds ago, Kay Donnelly taking the win. He's the only driver I have seen take a win upside down on his lid. So there you go, Carl, something you've got to get looking forward to tonight.
Look, when you can take a victory upside down, you are doing very well indeed. Always a fun thing to do when you're skidding across the finish line on the roof of the car. It makes for a very exciting finish. But that's a fantastic time by Kate there. A 31.2, a good couple of attempts quicker. Everybody else in the 31.3s at the moment. So that is a tremendously quick lap.
Yeah, and the guys we need to look out for tonight are the Sim Boys, guys. They are really good. I've now commentated and broadcasted the first 3 seasons of the Australasian Supercar eSeries, and they've always been there or thereabouts. Aaron Dillon, after winning the first season before we went into Sim broadcasting, he's had a pretty rough run, if I could say so myself. He'd be the first to say that as well. But he's up there in P2 at the moment, so he'll be looking for a bit of redemption. Your championship leader there in 3rd position with a 31.32. So nice solid qualifying there from your championship leader of Raymond Yeager that you see on your screens there at the moment, ladies and gentlemen. Great time there from Tom Pritchard in the 91. With a 31.37. Davo, Troy Davidson out of, as Barry Neal just goes boom, straight up into P number 2 there, Carl, 31.31. So the New Zealander of Barry Neal, as he come out last week, and he absolutely put on a masterclass around Indianapolis, and he's just put the car up into 2nd place with a 31.31. He's on his 2nd time lap now. Can he go better? And we'll see as he comes across the start-finish line. And no, it looks like that's as much as he's got at the moment. So Barry Neal, coming off a dominant win last week, up there in P2. Brett Campbell, the quickest Lightning McQueen we've ever seen. He's out there at the moment in the 0.15. We'll see where he ends up here in qualifying as he comes across the start-finish line. Brett Campbell comes across the start-finish line now, and that's only going to be good enough for 21st. So Brett Campbell, a lot of work to do tonight here for round number 7 of the My Private Seller Australasian Supercar eSeries.
Not always a bad place to start towards the back of the grid, of course. You can work your way up through the field, and if there is anything that goes wrong at the start of the race, you can sometimes avoid those incidents. I was watching Barry Neal's 2nd lap there with Ayator Arara. Again, I'll mispronounce that name as much as you, Aidan.
Mate, I'm going to do it all night too, yeah. So can you please make me sound better? Keep saying it that way, because I think mine sounds better, but just saying.
I got sent a voice clip of how to pronounce it. I still can't do it. So one day I will manage it. But yeah, sometimes starting down towards the back is not a bad thing as qualifying comes to an end here.
It does, and we'll run through your starters here for round number 7 of the My Private Seller Australasian Supercar eSeries. It will be Kay Donnelly off the pole position tonight with Barry Neal out of P2, Aaron Dillon and Raymond Yeager out of 3 and 4. Gary Wellman and Todd Maxfield out of 5 and 6 with Tom Pritchard and Troy Davidson starting out of 7th and 8th tonight. Christopher Finlay out of 9th with Darren McKenzie out of 10th. Jamie Nankervis out of 11th with Greg Spencer out of 12th, Carl.
Yeah, 13th we've got Kobe Jordan with Andy Barber in 14th position. 15th is Adam Malone with Jai Schultz in 16th. 17th we have Nigel Patton with Tristan Cotchin in 18th. 19th is Brett Campbell, Nicholas Walsh on the outside in 20th. 21st we have Simon Ferris with Justin Whitcher in 22nd, and rounding out the grid will possibly be Ash Nazir.
Yep, Ash Nesser, get my teeth in before we go and start commentating, but Ash Nesser out of 23. A little bit of a depleted field again here tonight, as we saw last week. Usually 30, 35 cars plus, but we're coming to the pointy end of the season. So all the big players are in here tonight, and they're here ready to race. And we are about to go 3-wide racing around Atlanta Motorspeedway here for round number 7 of the My Private Seller Australasian Supercar eSeries. Before we roll off under the pace car, we've got to have a big shout out to those sponsors. My Private Seller, if you're in the market for your own little private seller at home or anything to do with that, jump on to myprivateseller.com.au, jump across there and support them. Support the people that support the iRacing community, because without them, we would not be going racing. We would not be broadcasting, and the Australasian Supercar eSeries would not be happening. Of course, Ray White, Rural Gander, Pete Matson, all the guys there up in Hervey Bay in Queensland. If you're in the market for property, whether it be buying a property, whether it be investing in a property, rentals, jump on to Ray White Rural Gander in that region, and Pete will be sure to help you out. Of course, the Sim Racing Edge you can see across the top of the timing tower there. They supply all the setups here for the My Private Seller Australasian Supercar eSeries, but the drivers are off. They're off behind the pace car, and we're about to get dirty for 134, and it's going to go nuts. So I tell you what, Carl, mate, first time in the booth here, Australasian Supercar eSeries. I bet you're excited for this one.
Oh, I'm rubbing my hands together with glee. Just what you were saying about there, just a slightly depleted field. There is a good old quote in motorsport: you only need 2 cars to have a great motor race, and we have got 23 of them tonight, so I am expecting great things.
Mate, what you're about to see will absolutely blow your mind. Cade Donnelly off the pole, Barry Neal out of New Zealand in second. Expect Barry Neal to make a move early. Aaron Dillon out of 3, Raymond Yeager 4, Gary Wellman and Todd Maxfield 5 and 6, Troy Davidson, Tommy Pritchard out of 7 and 8, Darren McKenzie and Christopher Finlay out of 9 and 10. A lot of teammates around each other, so expect for them to work with each other early, but we're one of 134, so I'm getting excited early. We've still got probably another hour and a half of broadcasting to go yet, but the pace car's in. We're waiting for Barney. Cade Donnelly is waiting for the green flag, and we're green here for round number 7 of the My Private Seller Australasian Supercar eSeries here at Atlanta, and we go roaring down into turn number 1. Carl.
That start for Barry Neal, dropping off the pace. The Sim boys working well on the low line. Cade Donnelly getting a fantastic start. Dylan just behind him with Wellman. All 3 of those cars getting a lightning start there. Neal just getting caught a little bit on the high line. That caused a bit of a check-up behind him. Just not able to get away quite as cleanly as they'd hoped. But the perfect start for Donnelly up front.
Yeah, and we're seeing Gary Wellman on the low line there. He's trying to get up with Aaron Dillon and try and make it a Sim Boys 1, 2, 3, but he's going to get hung out. Barry Neal just collects a little bit of the outside wall there, so that's not going to help Barry. But Gary Wellman was trying to make it a Sim Boys 1, 2, 3, and it looks like they're going to get that job done as they make their way out of turns number 1 and 2 here at Atlanta for the second time of asking tonight, as they go into 3 and 4. So it is now Aaron Dillon with an absolute bolter off the front. Gary Wellman second, Todd Maxfield third, and it's actually a Sim Boys 1, 2, 3, 4 with Cade Donnelly in fourth at the moment, Carl.
Yeah, look, lightning start there from all of the Sim boys. They have got a fantastic run. Aaron Dillon getting a really nice run at the start. Just dropping back a little bit now, falling in behind his teammate Gary Wellman, along with Todd Maxfield, Cade Donnelly. They're just sort of getting in a little bit of a group together, probably just to try and stop people from being able to attack or get a bit of a group together with themselves to attack the outside line. Does look a little bit sketchy out there for the drivers. They're just having to do a few corrections with the car. Tail a little bit happy in these early stages. Track temperature a little bit warm at 33 degrees. A lot of, I think there's a fair amount of humidity in the air judging by the clouds. So those can all affect the cars and just how they act. Meanwhile, Raymond Yeager having a good run now, working his way up through the field and towards the front, just getting past Aaron Dillon, getting a nice little bit of the slipstream, a little bit of the draft there, catching up to the back. I think that was Todd Maxfield as well. Sorry, that would have been Troy Davidson there.
Yeah, and a good drive by Raymond Yeager, even be it early doors tonight here for round number 7 of the Ray White Royal Australasian Supercar eSeries. Raymond feeling a little bit poorly coming into this one. He is your current reigning series leader, and he's doing a great job, and he's now moved himself up into the second position, and he's going to have a fight for the lead now down into turn number 3 and 4 for the 5th timer asking tonight, and he's going to get the job, or try and get the job done over Troy Davidson through 3 and 4. So I said when you come into this one, Carl, it's not like usual NASCAR. These guys send it, and it is race on at the front.
Yeah, look, early doors still, of course, so, there's a long way to go in the race. Still a lot of laps to go. 128, in fact, still remaining here tonight. But if you can get up into the front of the pack, get into the lead of the race early, you're probably going to be in a slightly better position. We've got sort of 2 packs breaking away now. There's a bit of a secondary pack falling back with Kobe Jordan and Justin Witcher in the sort of pack that's a little bit further down the field. Down in around 14th, 15th position. I think Greg Spencer just at the back of the field before that one. So yeah, Kobe Jordan leading that one at the moment. But we've got some great racing up the front. Barry Neal now starting to work his way back up through the field. That early scrape against the wall not really hurting him too much at the moment. Got to say, the cars look just a little bit sort of on edge through the high line in the early stint. Obviously getting their tyres nice and warm and getting ready for the race, but now they're starting to settle in and looking a little bit more drivable.
Yeah, exactly. As we see the 016 there of Todd Maxfield really getting that high line to work through 3 and 4 and trying to get the job done around the outside of Barry Neal. So that, as Barry Neal has a big blink out there into turn number 1 and 2. But what we see, and probably referencing what you just said there earlier, Carl, with the guys dropping back, and you mentioned the likes of, I believe it was Kobe Jordan, etc., sort of in that mid-pack. There's only one set of tyres over the wall here every week, except for last week for the Indianapolis 400, which I had the pleasure of being a part of. But there's only one set of tyres over the wall, so they do need to go through pit lane twice. So a lot of these drivers that you might see mid-pack at the moment, and I can reference them probably from Kay Donnelly in 8th, Tom Pritchard, Christopher Finlay, Andy Barber, Adam Malone, Darren McKenzie, Greg Spencer, Justin Witcher, of course, your 2-time and reigning champion here, Nigel Payton. They're sitting there just trying to save their tyres, and you can see Andy Barber just there in the background as well. 2nd place in the championship at the moment here, coming into round number 7. He is just sort of sitting in behind there and trying to manage his race early. So we all know that these races are long. We're only 10 into 134, a long way to go. It's all putting yourself into the window for that final pit stop, Carl.
Yeah, that's it. It's that little bit of extra strategy that's involved in a race like this. You've got to decide if you push early, use up the rubber on the tyres a little bit quicker, or if you hold back, try and save it so you can have a bit of a longer first run. All these things come into play later in the race, so that can really come into effect. Of course, there is the ever-present danger of a caution flag flying as well, so watching out for those things if they happen, if there's a big wreck.
100%, but how about we go on with the new thing that we've got here on the IndySim Esports Network, a little bit of the Mega Wall. Let's go on board with Raymond Yeager. You can see what it looks like for Raymond Yeager in behind the wheel. Well, he's battling for 3rd position. You can actually see what he looks like. There he is. There's Razor in action, and that's what it looks like in behind the 23, the championship leader of Raymond Yeager, as we're going around Atlanta Motorspeedway here for round number 7 of the My Private Seller Australasian Supercar eSeries. He's doing a lot of talking. He's talking to his teammates. He's feeling the pressure, but he's up there in 3rd at the moment. How good is that for pictures to have at home, for people to be able to see what these drivers are doing in behind their cockpits?
Yeah, it's the full concentration mode, and you get that concentrate face appearing. It's a strange thing when you see it, because you look at yourself and you go, what was I doing back then? I look like I'm really, you're sort of looking at something and you're like, I look really strange in that picture, but it is just full concentration as you are racing at good speeds of 280, 290 kilometers per hour through these corners, side by side as well. You are millimeters away from another car. You can see Barry Neal there, 3 wide as they go through turns 3 and 4 there, just for a moment, just looking at going 3 wide. Yeah, you get down on the inside now, trying to get past Neal as they go into turns 1 and 2, and he's just thinking about where I want to be on the track, how I want to get past, am I going to be clear here? You just have those little moments of thinking and concentrating as you do this.
And he's already laughing. You can see him already laughing, going, oh my God, what is going on here as I'm going into P1? So they take it seriously, but how good is it to see the reactions of the drivers as he tries to get the job done on Barry Neal? I tell you, someone to just keep one eye on in the background there, Carl, is Jai Schultz. The Lesser Schultz, I'll call him the Lesser Schultz because I beat him last night in Weekend Warriors by an absolute mile, if you don't mind. But Jai Schultz there in the third spot. So keep one eye on Jai. He's always there or thereabouts. He's supported by DSL Welding Services, and he's doing a great job up there in third place at the moment. So just keep one eye on Jai and see whether he can push the number 27 DSL Welding Services backed Holden Commodore up to the front of this one as this race does move on.
Here it's a different story on dirt, though, where you became the lesser of the Schultzes there.
We don't need to hear about this, Carl. Like, this is the under the bus thing I've spoken to you about, mate. So yeah, we don't need to hear about that. I'm usually good at dirt, but obviously that night I had too many bevies, so we'll worry about that later.
We won't speak about that one. Meanwhile, up front, the battle continues. He is just sitting back there in third at the moment. Troy Davidson getting a nice little bit of a run, trying to make the move, but they're just watching these two battle. It's Neil versus Jaeger at the moment. They are fighting it out for P1, and the rest of the field just dropping in single file at the moment, not putting too much pressure on each other. And while they're doing this, it's kind of a good thing because it helps them break away from that secondary pack, that group that's a little bit further behind. And gives them the opportunity to pull away a little bit from people like Jamie Nankervis, I believe, is a little bit further down in there, Tristan Koch, Peyton, Walton, Campbell, Ferris, Jordan, and Neza as well. So they're able just to pull out a little bit, and that's one of the things you have to do in sort of motor racing and oval racing sometimes, is stop battling so much in the early stages. As much as you love to fight, but sometimes it can really cost you time. So if you can sort of work together a little bit and not fight it out, dice side by side constantly, you can pull away a little bit, gives you a bit of a better opportunity later in the race. But try telling that to a racing driver, they do not listen one bit.
Well, mate, you've commentated on many races that I've raced, and it's not gone well for me on most occasions. So I 100% agree with what you're saying there. But what we could be seeing here in this race so far is it's probably a battle of two races, because we are on board with Nigel Payton there back in the 18th position. They will take a set of tyres at some stage. Do they take them in their first stop, or do they take them into their second stop? But the difference is they're only going to have to take fuel in one of those stops. So the more they can save is the shorter they're going to be stationary in pit lane when we get to the back end of this race. And I know we're only 19 into 134, and we've called the commentator's curse by me saying that already. But if we do go green to end, the strategy with fuel is going to be a very, very big thing, because it can be a 6, 7, 8 second advantage for you, especially here for the Australasian Supercar eSeries. If you can just run it around in 6th gear and try and save a bit of fuel, as we're on board there with Greg Spencer right in behind Darren McKenzie. That's the battle for 13th, 14th on the track at the moment. So you've got the Southern Stars Esports guys just in front of Greg. So that's Andy Barber, Adam Malone and Darren McKenzie. So they're trying to work together really early. So they've got a strategy in mind at the moment. These drivers are not drivers that usually sit back in the 11th, 12th, 13th position. They've got a strategy in mind, and they obviously know something that we don't up here in the broadcast booth, Carl.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things as well, as sitting back in the pack a little bit can be a little bit advantageous, of course, because you've got a car in front of you punching a big hole through the air for you. So you use a little bit less fuel. So sitting back in the pack might be a wise decision, as you say. It can save a lot of time. Every litre, every drop of fuel that gets put into the car does take time. It's not a quick thing to happen, it's not an instantaneous thing. So if you can save yourself a good couple of tenths of a second, that can be the difference from sitting down in 10th position up to the front of the field.
Yeah, but have a look at this as how it's playing out in front of us at the moment. So we did see Raymond Jaeger, Barry Neal and Jai Schultz just sort of take off into the distance there. Not into the distance, about a half a second up the road. But have a look at that. That's like a 15-car battle. They're now right in behind each other, and it's sort of evening itself out as this tyre wear does even out. And we're going to see the drivers, the likes of Todd Maxfield, Aaron Dillon, Gary Wellman, Cade Donnelly, Tom Pritchard. We're going to see these guys come back up into the field, or we're going to see Barry Neal, Raymond Jaeger and Jai Schultz come back to the field And we're going to see things change up as we're already 23 into 134. So no sooner do you blink, you're already 23 laps into 134, but it is still Barry Neal leading the way here for round number 7 of the My Private Seller Australasia Supercar eSeries, of course. Witcher Electrics, Tim Racer Edge, all a part of this one as well, which makes this available. Carl Withy, Aidan Schultz in the booth. I hope you're enjoying this one as Barry Neal leads the way down the back straight.
Yeah, look, fantastic racing up the front, and I was going to say, Barry Neal's sitting there comfortably in front at the moment. He's able to just get some good speed off the corners, and you sort of see the cars just dropping back a little bit mid-corner and then gaining back through the straight section, of course. When you go through those corners, you know, when you sort of get that little bit of turbulence and what we call dirty air coming into effect a little bit. Of course, when you're on an oval, the car gets compressed, so it's nice and tight through that oval section. That's why we have a banked curve on the ovals, is to make it so you can go faster effectively, but they do just tend to drop back a little tiny bit and then gain back on the straights here, and that's the main thing when you're sort of driving in an ovals league or in ovals racing. You just have to be a bit cautious, especially when you turn in sometimes, because the car can feel a little bit funny and it's very easy to run up wide. All of a sudden you find yourself getting towards that wall very, very quickly.
100% aero wash is a very big thing, even in these supercars where you've got really big wings on the front and really low downforce, really big wings on the back and really low downforce on the front. The aero wash can play a big part, not so much with you circulating and trying to get that car rotated through the corner. It can really hurt your tyre because you're sitting right up in behind there and you're having to put more steering input into your car. So you can see that now at every opportunity that Raymond Yeager's got. He's trying to go around the outside. He's not necessarily trying to go around the outside to make the pass. He's just trying to save his stuff at the moment and try and keep the outside front right in a good position. But in saying that, he's getting a really great run down the back straight here into 3 and 4 at Atlanta. How good are those cameras here on the IndySim Esports Network, Carl, as Barry Neal's trying to make the run up on the inside. We'll see Raymond get a really good run off 3 and 4 here, and how good is that?
It's great to have the almost the 360 view there, the movable camera inside, always a fun thing. As I just noticed a couple of smoke going across the start finish line. Who was that heading into pit lane? Simon Ferris in pit lane at the moment.
Yeah, we can see Simon into pit lane as well. Not sure what happened, Carl. I'll let you just have a look at that one.
Always had a big moment coming out of 4. So if we get the replay on that one, he had a big moment coming out of 4 and has blown the engine on that one after making secondary contact with the wall. So you can see here, tries to save it, but bang, up into that slightly curved section of the front straight. Obviously, it's not completely straight there, and it's absolutely caught out the 315 of Ferris there, and that is his night over.
Yeah, that's unfortunate from Simon there. We're only 29 into 134, and that's put her away, put her back in the trailer and rebuild her for next week. So unfortunate there for Simon Ferris, but good to see Simon out here for the Australasian Supercar eSeries. Haven't seen a lot of him. Unfortunately, that's not the way that he would have wanted to have his night play out tonight, but I'm sure he'll be back bigger and stronger next week if he's here for round number 8. But we're still too wide for the lead here, with Raymond Yeager still hanging tough on the outside. Jai Schultz still sitting there in 3rd place, but have a look at who's in 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th. It's the Sim Boys train, and these guys are waiting and playing their time. Troy Davison, no stranger to the broadcast booth here in the IndySim Esports Network booth, but these Sim Boys cars, they'll be there or thereabouts at the end, but at the moment they're just sitting back there. They're playing their race, they're managing their race, but it's still good racing at the front. We could possibly go to the camera to see how awesome our commentators look while we're commentating, Carl. So we can give them a wave on the broadcast as we're commentating, if you want to do that, mate. I know you're wearing your best shirt tonight.
Of course, it is the important thing. I've got to keep up the appearances. You were just saying there, from 4th down to sort of 6th, 4th down to 9th. Christopher Finley running out that top, almost that top 10. And then from Tom Pritchard down to Darren McKenzie, of course, that group of teammates all together at the moment, keeping their cars close together and fighting it out. So it is a bit of a teammate shuffle as well. Greg Spencer and Justin Witcher as well, working well with each other. Jamie Nankervis really the first of the non-teammates in that group of cars other than the front group.
Yeah, exactly. Watch out for those Southern Stars Esports Racing entries. As we said earlier in the broadcast, Andy Barber coming into round number 7. He is second in the championship. Your current championship leader's now gone and got the lead over Barry Neal up the top, but we'll keep on. Oh, no, we'll stay here. So Raymond Yeager has just taken the lead over Barry Neal. So that's a little bit of a battle we need to look out for, but it's really good for you to point that out there, Carl, because we did see that we had Andy Barber, Adam Malone, Darren McKenzie, Tom Pritchard working really well together. So how this will play out as we go into the mid to late race stages of the race, time will tell. But at the moment, these guys at the front have not let off at all, and they are pedal to the metal. We'll see what happens. We've only had one retirement tonight. It is Simon Ferris. So we've still got 22 cars circulating here for round 7 of the My Private Seller Australasian Supercar eSeries as Raymond Yeager gets really close to the outside wall there through 3 and 4 here at Atlanta Motorspeedway. He's trying really hard to get the job done on Barry Neal. He might get it done this time around, not sure, because Barry's absolutely doing a great job down there on the inside line. But it looks like Raymond's really getting that outside line to work, and he's really trying to clear him. And his first opportunity, he'll try pull down in front of Barry Neal, but he's not going to get that done yet. Jai Schultz up there in 3rd place, just trying to follow Raymond as well. So it's an interesting run here at the front, Carl.
It is. We've got a pitter in Jamie Curtis, as well as, I think, Tristan Koch coming in, and Barry Neal might be coming in as well very shortly. So keep an eye out here. Looks like we might have the first round of pit stops starting to come in. I was just looking at the race chat, but just definitely Nankervis and Koch both in pit lane at the moment. I'm wondering if we will see Barry Neal come in as well this time round, as it doesn't look like it. He's sort of sticking it out there, so obviously hit the wrong button on his steering wheel there. But we have got the first couple of pit stops going in.
So this is the strategy call that I was mentioning to you, Carl. So I would suggest the likes of Tristan Koch and Jamie Nankervis, who come into pit lane, if they did not have damage, they're doing their double stint on their tyres, and they're going to run as short as they can through this fuel stint, fill it up in the next if we go green, because they're expecting it to go green, and put a nice fresh set on and come to the end. So that could be their strategy. At the moment, though, it is still Barry Neal. He's now being passed by Jai Schultz on the outside there as well. So Barry now, he's probably spent the last 20 laps down there on the inside line here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, and that's not going to be helping the outside front from the 22 our Toyota racing car of Barry Neal. So that's why Jai Schultz and Raymond Yeager has taken the lead in 1st and 2nd of this motor race. But Raymond Yeager and Jai Schultz, it might have taken them 15 or 20 laps on that outside line, but patience is the virtue, and they've finally got that job done on Barry Neal. And it now is Raymond Yeager, Jai Schultz, Barry Neal, Troy Davidson, and Aaron Dillon, your 5 here, 39 into round number 7 of the My Private Seller Australasian Supercar eSeries, Carl.
Yeah, that high line definitely kinder to the tyres. You're not putting as much stress through them as when you run the dry line. Brett Campbell coming in now as well for his service through pit lane. Of course, when you go through pit lane, you're going to drop back at least a lap here. It is a fairly long time you're going to be in the pit lane for, a good 48, 50 odd seconds for a service. And when you've got a lap time of 31 seconds, you can quickly do the maths and realise that you are going to drop a lap, of course. So it is costly coming in pit lane, and especially if you get something like a caution come out, then it really can hurt. But it does look like it's going to be a green run so far, and what we've seen is a lot of people just being very cautious. There's not been too much real dicey racing, you can say, not sort of super aggressive stuff. There's a lot of little passes here and there. We can see there Aaron Dillon and Barry Neal just having a little movement with each other, but they're not really sort of betting passes. They're dangerous passes, you'd say, where there's a bit of risk involved. They're more just calculated passes. It's when you get towards those stages where people are starting to make the more risky moves, that's when you're likely to see...
Brett Campbell's coming off in front of the field, down the back straight. No, Brett Campbell out of pit lane, drove straight up into the field, and that's going to be caution number 1 tonight. And that is a absolute commentator's curse there, Carl.
Well, years of experience has brought the commentators' strength up and up, but that was a rough move on the leaders just coming up there, and they've got caught up there. Obviously, not to speed with Brett Campbell, and that caught Jai Schultz really heavily there. A big amount of damage to the front of that car. I think that might be his night over and done with.
Yeah, that's absolutely terrible for a lot of those front runners as we go back to the instant replay. We'll see what happens when Brett Campbell comes out of pit lane. And I'm feeling a bit of a deja vu from Man's car here, to be honest, but we won't worry about that. But Brett Campbell...
the curse on a Schultz.
Yeah, it's a Schultz thing, mate. It's a Schultz thing. But Brett Campbell coming out of pit lane into the back straight, and he's just going to drive straight up into... Wow. Straight up into the oncoming traffic. That looked like Aaron Dillon was a part of that as well. A lot of big drivers involved in that, and that's put everyone into pit lane. So not sure what happened there. We're commentators. We've got to be bipartisan here, Carl, but that was a little bit interesting there by the 015 there of Brett Campbell, we must say.
Yeah, that was it's a disastrous moment, and it's caught a lot of drivers out. And one driver just absolutely sliding through by the skin of his teeth was Raymond Yeager. He absolutely avoided that. I'd love to have seen the face cam on that one. Aaron Dillon kind of got lucky in that crash. He got a big impact into the right rear, so hopefully that doesn't cause too much damage to the drive of the car. But it's sort of not on the front end, so he might be able to get away with that one. But we are going through pit lane now. We've got everybody ducking in, topping up the tanks, getting a quick service. And it is Raymond Yeager back out in front of that group. Jamie Nankervis in the lead at the moment, though. Obviously, just taking that stop prior, he stayed out there. So he's stayed out there and he's got back. He's got into the lead now. So that kind of paid off quite well for Jamie Nankervis.
Definitely did, but let's take this opportunity. We always bring drivers up into the broadcast booth, and it's probably... You've actually had this experience with me about 2 weeks ago, Carl. So let's just do it now anyway, because we'll bring a driver up into the broadcast booth and have a chat to him about what happened in that incident. So we've got him up into the broadcast booth now. Aaron Dillon, mate. Aiden and Carl, broadcast booth, mate. Have you got a copy?
Yeah, I've got a copy there, Aiden.
Mate, doing a good job there tonight. Unfortunate there with a driver sort of coming up down the back straight there. Not the way you would have liked to see that incident happen, 44 into 134 tonight.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he was thinking there, but anyway, I didn't have that much damage, so I'm back out, fixed all the optionals, so we'll see how we go from here.
Well, mate, I know you do a lot of ANSCAR and do a lot of other stuff. We've got Carl Withy up in the booth tonight here for the My Private Seller Australasian Supercar eSeries. So, Carl Withy, have a little bit of a chat with Aaron Dillon.
Yeah, good day, Aaron. How are you going? Obviously, you got that bit of damage, so bit of damage in the right rear, but it looks like you got relatively unscathed with that one, which is probably about the best you can ask for, other than avoiding the impact completely. Do you feel like this one's going to affect your race much with that little bit of a crinkle in the back?
I'm hoping it shouldn't. The aero comes into it pretty good like the draft, so I don't think a little bit of damage is going to help me hurt me too much. Draft comes into it pretty good, so I think I'll be right.
Well, hopefully it remains that way and it doesn't affect the car too much, because it's never fun when you get caught up in an incident like that. But we saw some really good running from yourself and your teammates as well, so obviously I imagine you want to try and get back into a bit of a line with them.
Yeah, that's the plan. Get back up there with the boys and see how the night pans out.
Well, wish you all the best with that one, Aaron Dillon.
Cheers, Carl.
No worries, Aaron. We'll let you go back up with the Sim boys, mate. We wish you all the best here on the InterSim Esports Network. We're about to go green, so we'll jump him back up there, and hopefully we're talking to you at the end, mate.
Yeah, cheers, Schultzy. Well, hopefully we'll be later.
Thanks, mate. Have a good night.
You do.
Always nice to talk to a driver that's still in a race.
How good is that? I probably should have brought up Raymond Yeager, the championship leader, but that probably would have thrown him under the bus. But that would be taking a leaf out of Carl's book. But we are going to go green once again here, or for the second time tonight. We went 44 laps green. We have had one caution, and it's your championship leader, Raymond Yeager, taking us to the pole. the pace car is in. Todd Maxfield on the outside. Barney's about to wave the green flag, and we are green here for the second time tonight for round number 7 of the My Private Stellar Australasian Supercar eSeries, and Raymond Yeager has bolted at the front into turn number 1 and 2 as Troy Davidson follows him there by Todd Maxfield, Kay Donnelly, Gary Wellman. It's a Simboys pack, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Then we've got Southern Stars in behind there as well. Christopher Finlay's in there as well. So Southern Stars, Simboys, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 at the moment, Carl. I tell you, I get a bit excited when I'm commentating, mate, and I tell you, I'm sorry, but I get really excited.
I'm not sure how you managed to get all of that out in just a single breath, Mr. Aidan Schultz. Congratulations on not passing out. Really good restart there from Raymond Yeager. But watch down below. Look at the speed down below from Todd Maxfield. Sorry, it was Kate Donnelly, I think.
That's Adam Lone's having a good run from Southern Stars. He's now going to go to the outside and try and take the lead into 3 and 4 this time around over Christopher Finlay. So Adam Malone in the number 4 Southern Stars Esports Racing entry. We haven't spoken about him at all tonight, and after one caution, he's up there and he's trying to take the lead of this motor race as we're nearly we are one third of the way through. So Adam Malone trying to take the lead over Christopher Finlay, but this is the tyre difference. Has people taken tyres? Have they not? So we're about to find out as this section of the race goes green. So Adam Malone getting a good run in behind Christopher Finlay there into 3 and 4. He's just going to think better of it and just sit in behind him and just watch with a watching brief through 3 and 4. But Adam Malone, he is up 13 positions. He started out at 15th position tonight, and he is now in P number 2. So Adam Malone in the number 4. What a great job. But Christopher Finlay, what a drive from him tonight as well, starting out of 9th. We haven't really spoken about him as well, and he's leading the way. But look who's trying to make his way back up on the inside as well now, Carl. It's none other. Auto Racing, Barry Neal, trying to make his way back to the front of this one after an absolute dominant win at round number 6 at Indianapolis last week.
Yeah, really nice run up the inside there. Little crinkle on the front of that car. He had a big bit of repair done in the pit lane. Was stationary for a good 50 odd seconds, and that dropped him down the field a little bit. Gotta wonder though, is he on nice fresh boots now and everybody else still on their old set of tyres? Because it looks like he's definitely got a bit of a pace advantage. Obviously a little bit of repair work done too, so it's trying to work that little aspect out. But Finlay, a really nice drive. I was watching him through the early stages there, and that back end of the car was very lively. He did a really good job of keeping it in touch, had a big slide through turns 4, just onto the start-finish straight section, and kept that car pointing the right way. So really good car control shown there once again by Christopher Finlay.
100% it is, but Barry Neal now taking the lead, and Paul Jackson is tuning in on the broadcast through Facebook. He is commenting as InterSim Esports Network, but Barry Neal is Paul Jackson's teammate. You'll be happy to see Barry up the front in this one. So Paul, if you are still tuning in, first and foremost, I hope you won bowling this weekend. It's unfortunate not to see you in the car tonight, but your teammate doing a great job at the front at the moment. We'll see how it plays out. Christopher Finlay still in second. Adam Malone, Troy Davidson and Todd Maxfield, your 5, as we're 52 into 134. So we'll see how it goes. I think this is the calm before the storm though, Carl. We usually see late cautions here, so we'll see what happens here as Troy Davidson's trying to get a run on the inside there of Adam Malone into turns number 1 and 2, and it looks like he's going to get that job done this time around. But Adam making that mid to high line work, but Troy's got a little bit of fresher tyres there by the looks of it, but they're going to go side by side. Barry Neal swerving, trying to get out of the draft to Christopher Finlay in the foreground there, and Troy Davidson now makes the move for P3. So now we've got Simboys 2 and 3 here in this race as we're 53 into 134.
Yeah, watch them to start to creep up through the field as they do. Todd Maxfield, I think, is the next car in line for Simboys, but not far off is Darren McKenzie in the
Southern Star.
There we go, thank you. He is working up to get together with Adam Malone, so those boys trying to get together and get some teamwork going on here tonight.
Yeah, they've been doing that all night. We saw that earlier in the race. They sort of sat mid-pack, probably around about the 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th position. Now they're starting to make their way forward. Darren McKenzie and Adam Malone are the best of Southern Stars at the moment. They've got a bit of a Simboy sandwich in between them as we're on board there with Adam Malone, as he's got Todd Maxfield right in behind him. And we've got to have a big shout out to Todd Maxfield tonight. 2 weeks ago, he got his first podium here for the Australasian Supercar eSeries. He's a new recruit to the Simboys racing team and used to run for Hot Toddies. Obviously, they're a big sponsor of Simboys now, but first time he got to speak to us here on the Sim Esports Network, and he's following it up again tonight here for round number 7. Unfortunate week last week around Indianapolis for him, but he's doing a great job so far. So we'll see whether we get to talk to the 016 Todd Maxfield later on in the evening. But 56 into 134, long way to go. We're seeing a change for the lead now. We're seeing Christopher Finlay now trying to get the job done on Barry Neal, but Barry Neal's trying to do the same thing as what was done on him earlier on in the race. He's sitting that mid-track. He's learnt from his experience. And I say that, he goes down to the bottom. So good commentating there, Aidan. But, yeah, Barry Neal just sort of learning what he's got to do here. And if Barry has taken tyres with that damage, he really needs to manage this car. Otherwise, he's going to be a sitting duck later on in this race car.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting that right is really important. And now you know how I feel whenever I'm commentating on a driver, trying to call what they're about to do, and they always do the opposite. You can never ask a driver to do the right thing when you're commentating. They'll always do the thing you don't want them to do. But we've got some good racing a little bit further back between McKenzie and I think that was Dylan there as well. Dylan working his way back up through the field after getting that heavy contact in the rear. Working his way nicely through the field now, and that battle between himself and Darren McKenzie going very, very well. Darren McKenzie, of course, a champion winner in one of the other series, of course, the Weekend Warriors series. Very quick driver on ovals and always good at avoiding issues and just keeping the car nice and clean towards the end of a stint and then having a charge later on in the race.
Yeah, we saw him last night come from 15th to 5th in the last couple of laps in the Australian Stock Car Championship from Weekend Warriors, which you had the pleasure of calling as well there, Carl, and I was a part of that one as well. So we don't mind shouting out about the other leagues while we're in here. We all support each other. We're an iRacing community, so don't be afraid to do that. But Darren McKenzie, always there or thereabouts in the Australasian Supercar eSeries this year. Not the year he would have wanted in the Australian Stock Car. Oh, as there's the commentator's curses, we've got Darren McKenzie in the wall. But we're still green.
Very well saved there. Just a big snap. Just, I think, a little bit of contact between himself and Dylan there, and that's what caused that accident. Just got on the outside of Dylan, got up into the wall.
Darren McKenzie's into pit lane there now, Carl.
Yeah, there's a lot of damage to the front right, unfortunately, but just got caught by Aaron Dillon through the side there. So just a little bit of side contact, possibly not even full-on contact, maybe just being a little bit of netcode related shenanigans there, unfortunately, which is so often the case in virtual racing. It's another little thing you have to think about when you're driving these cars, of course, because it's almost like another little wrinkle sometimes. You have to just be a little bit extra careful when you're on the very outside of somebody when you're racing this close.
Well, let's see if we can bring back an instant replay of what happened there between Darren McKenzie. I'm not sure whether we're going to be able to bring it up, but if we can, we'll try and have a look. Not sure whether we can, because we'll see whether we can do that in a moment, but we'll still stay on board with Barry Neal at the front at the moment, who's leading the way from Christopher Finlay, Troy Davidson, Adam Malone, and Todd Maxfield, your 5. Kate Donnelly sitting there 6, Nicholas Walsh 7th, so it's a Simboys train in behind Barry Neal at the moment. So I did say early on in this broadcast, Paul needs to talk to Paul. I did say early on in this broadcast, Carl, these Simboys cars are ones that you really need to look out for, but Adam Malone, I've got to have a shout out to him. He is my teammate, so he's doing a great job, but these Simboys cars, they're going to be there or thereabouts, and it is a Simboys train trying to chase down Barry Neal at the front of this motor race at the moment.
It is, but what happened with our Darren McKenzie incident is it's broken up the field. So from 6th to 7th, there's now a good 3-second gap. So there's a big gap from those positions. So that has really changed things up, and it looks like we've lost Darren McKenzie. Unfortunately, damage too high for him. So that's the 3rd retirement of the night there.
Well,
But that has broken it up a little bit.
Let's take the opportunity, Carl. He's going to hate this. Let's have a chat to Darren. So we're going to bring Darren McKenzie up into the broadcast booth. Darren, mate, got to stop talking to you like this, mate. A couple of weeks ago, we had the same type of conversation. You were doing a great job there. Got it working, the 02 Southern Stars Esports Racing entry into a good position, and just another incident that just caught you out tonight, mate. I'm sure you're not happy with that.
No, not really happy, but no, it happens. I thought I gave him room, but he wanted to come up a bit higher, so yeah, there's a bit of contact. Wasn't much in it, but it was enough to, I think, just to lock us together and drive me up into the wall.
Well, mate, your 2022 racing season hasn't been one that you probably would have wanted. You come off a really good result, top 5 last night in the Weekend Warriors Australian Stock Car Championship. Always fast in everything you drive, and it just hasn't been the 2022 start that what you would have wanted, mate. So what's the magic formula to get the 02 back up there into the victory lane, which we're so accustomed to see?
I'll just take it as it comes. Hopefully enjoy each race. Well, unlike tonight, it may not always end in the way I want, but main thing is to have fun, spend time with the teammates, and it's not get too worked up over, I suppose. It's a long season.
100% it is, but we've got, I don't know if you've been watching the broadcast, we've got Carl Withy up into the broadcast booth with us tonight. So Carl, that you would have heard a lot through Ann's car and then also through Weekend Warriors, he's up in here with us as well, and there's our ugly mugs on the screen as we see. Carl, have a little bit of chat to Darren, mate. Say good day and reintroduce yourself, mate.
Thank you, Darren. Always a pleasure to speak with you. Obviously, I'd much rather be doing it at the end of the race when you're on a podium than in this stage of the race. Obviously, it's always troublesome when it's happened sort of at this stage. Were you thinking about possibly trying to get a repair done, or was your night absolutely run?
No, it would have been too much damage. I'm not in the run for the championship, so I'll kick out of the way for the guys that are.
Always a shame to lose a quick car early in a race, well, sort of almost halfway through the race, but always love to see a quick car towards the end of the race. Up to that point, though, you were having a pretty decent run.
Yeah, took it easy on the first stint and come out of the pits, and the pack really slowed up, and I seen Adam jump up there, so I figured I'll go up and try and give him a hand. We'll push the pace up the front a bit and see what we can do.
Up to that point, good run. Obviously, hopefully, it will be better circumstances next time we get you in a broadcast booth.
Fingers crossed.
No worries, Darren. Well, thanks for your time up here in the Indersim Esports Network broadcast booth for round number 7 of the My Private Seller Australasian Supercar eSeries. But the 02 Southern Stars Esports Racing entry of Darren McKenzie. Thank you for your time tonight, mate. No doubt we'll see you in the booth sooner rather than later, and we hope you're up there supporting the guys for the rest of this one. We'll talk to you shortly.
As just watching the 22, Barry Neal, he takes an interesting line, especially down the sort of straights. He's been jumping right down to the low side, keeping his way almost away from the walls. You see it there again, just dropping down, obviously trying to break the draft behind him, to try and stop Troy Davidson getting a bit of a run down the straights. But he has taken a very interesting line, and that's going to be affecting the tyres a little bit more. Obviously, the more turning, the more twisting, the more lateral load you put into those tyres, the quicker they start to fade. And at these speeds, when you're sort of jiving around the track like that, it is going to start affecting them a little bit. There's still 62 laps of this race remaining, so it'll be interesting to see how that car holds on for the end of the race.
Yeah, I see what you're saying there, Carl, but what I'm seeing with his driving style, and talking from a racer from myself, see how he's just dabbing the brake coming into the corner. What he's trying to do is trying not to put too much load on that front right-hand tyre on the initial turn and try and straighten up the corner as much as he can. So that's exactly what Barry Neal is doing. You'll see him do it now. He'll just touch the brake, get it turned in, and then power all the way out. So that's going to be saving his front right-hand tyre, because if he drives in any harder, he's going to have to put more steering input into that 22 Auto Auto racing car. So he's just going to keep dabbing that brake. But in saying that, he does have better tyres to the cars behind him. So now he's trying to put his car in a position to probably try and fight off what's going to be an absolute Sim Boys battle and an Adam Malone battle at the end of this race if we do go green. But do not forget that Barry Neal nearly lapped the whole field last week in the Indianapolis 400. So Barry Neal knows how to save a set of tyres. So don't be surprised to see Barry there at the pointy end of this one. But Troy Davidson, Adam Malone, Todd Maxfield having a good run here in second, third and fourth respectively. Kay Donnelly sitting in there behind as well. The man that 2 rounds ago finished on his lid. So he's up there in fifth at the moment. And they've got a nice little gap over Christopher Finlay at the moment. So it's a 5-way battle for the front. But there is a lot to play out with strategy. Who's taken tyres, who hasn't, we're about to find out. I'd suggest in the next 10 to 15 laps when we go into our final green flag pit stops. But in saying that, Carl, there could be late cautions, and what we see on ovals, there usually is. And if Saturday night was anything to go by, there possibly could be as well.
Look, it's always the way. Watch for those first cars to come into pit lane. And of course, one of the things that can often happen is when you've got the cars coming in, especially if they're strapping on a fresh set of boots, is they come out there on cold tyres and then all of a sudden you get out back on track and the car doesn't behave how you expected it to. You're used to driving on those old worn out boots, and then you get out on track and all of a sudden you've got a lot more grip in the corners in some places. The car snaps in a different place than you're used to every single lap when you've got those slightly warmer used tyres, and it can catch you out a little bit. So we often see a caution come out in green flag stops. Tom Pritchard has come into pit lane, so he's the first of those second stops to come in. So interesting to see how he does on his way out. But as I say, watch out for those people re-emerging from pit lane. We saw it earlier on, of course. It is dangerous when cars come out from pit exit. They are going a lot slower and it takes a while to get up to speed fully, and it is very easy to make a mistake and then bring out the yellow.
There's one driver I need to keep one eye on, and that's exactly who Pete's on at the moment. So I don't know if he's looking at the live timing, but he's got this absolutely spot on. Justin Witcher, your 2-time reigning and defending champion. He's up into the 7th position at the moment. He's been through pit lane twice. Last time through on lap 44, only a stationary time of 4.58 seconds. No tyres for the number 1 reigning champion of Justin Witcher. So if this goes green, which it looks like it will at the moment, and we go into the pit stops, yes, the drivers in front are going to have a shorter stop, but he is going to be the fastest car on track. So keep one eye on the number 1 of Justin Witcher, up 15 spots on his starting position. This is why he is the 2-time reigning and defending champion. He knows how to get these cars around the track, and he's currently in 7th position. Started out of 22nd, and he's up into 7th at the moment. It's the championship leader, his teammate, just in behind him at the moment in 8th position. These guys will be working really well together. Don't write off Andrew J. Barber, the big A Barber. I'll give him the nicknames he wants. I talk to Andy every day. He'll be there or thereabouts. He's up in the 9th position. He last come through pit lane on lap 42. So he is in the same strategy as the guys at the front and the same strategy as the guys around him. So it's a lot to play out. Who's saved a little bit, because I'll guarantee you we will have a caution with 10 or 15 to go, Carl. I'm not putting the commentator's curse on, but I've commentated 3 seasons of this series and I've got an idea of what's going to happen.
I'm expecting it to happen, aren't you? You do get to know a little bit when you do that. It does make a difference. So just going back to have a look at Justin Witcher. So we came through pit lane on lap 43 when the caution came out with everybody else, and then he ducked back into pit lane on lap 45. So he came in for a secondary stop under caution there. So getting those 2 done in that caution period. So interesting little strategy call there, doing the sort of different thing to everybody else out there.
That could have actually been something to do with that incident too, Carl. We might have probably just totally blown past that, because Justin Witcher was back in that sort of place in the field. His car looks pretty good at the moment. It doesn't look like it's got any damage at all. But it might have played something to do with that. He might have thought, oh, I'm a little bit short on fuel. I'm just going to top it up and put a little bit of assurancy in it. And he's done that. So now he knows when he comes into pit lane, he can just go and run it hard to the end. So we're about to find out very, very shortly. We're now just gone 83 into 134. And we're about to see in the next 10 or 15 laps the final green flag pit stop. So Barry Neal's still holding on at the front over Troy Davidson, Adam Malone, Cade Donnelly, and Todd Maxfield. So Barry Neal doing a great job, still holding that lead at the moment. Don't keep one eye on Adam Malone. He's doing a great job. Adam Malone's a driver in this series, and it's not because he's my teammate. Adam Malone is a driver in this series that he's not got a result that he probably deserved. He's been there or thereabout, and he's doing a great job so far. Up there in P number 3. Troy Davidson, he's always thereabouts. Dave, I had plenty of chats to him in the broadcast booth. We could probably do that again tonight. Cade Donnelly, Cabo, he's back there in 4th as well. And Toddy Maxfield coming off his first podium the other week as well in 5th. As he's just trying to run that little bit of a mid to high line at the moment. So Todd Maxfield could be struggling with those tyres at the moment, Carl, but he's still slowly just holding on to this front four at the moment.
Yeah, it's interesting to see this breakaway as well, because there was that pack up the front, so up to Todd Maxfield. So sort of from Barry Neal to Todd Maxfield, they've got this breakaway pack up the front, and then there's a good 6 seconds down to Justin Witcher, Roman Yeager, Annie Barber, Christopher Finley, that group down there. So there's this interesting little pack that's formed, and you've got to say that because they've broken out so much, you've got to wonder if all of those guys maybe took the slightly fresher tyres. So Greg Spencer, Tom Pritchard, Jamie Nankervis, Tristan Koch all come into pit lane. So they've all made their secondary stops at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes.
Yeah, so they're going green to the end. So they've obviously gone, okay, I'm good to go to the end. It's not going to help them in track position now, but they're going to come back to the field. So as Barry Neal goes in, sorry to cut you off there, Carl.
That's right, I think we're both cutting each other off there as the leader pitted. So gets in, locks up the brakes a little bit. You've got to be careful not to speed in pit lane, of course. It is an easy thing to have happen. These cars, of course, they do have a speed limiter, so that does make life a little bit easier. Justin Witcher coming in as well. So Justin Witcher is coming in for his final stop. And I imagine he'll be stationary for a lot shorter time than the rest of the pack.
I'd suggest he would be, but this will be interesting. Will Troy Davidson come in out of the lead of the motor race this time around? No, they're going to stay out another lap, and Adam Malone's going to follow suit, as will Cade Donnelly. So they're going to keep running 1, 2, 3 at the front. So different strategies playing out here amongst all the drivers. Adam Malone, his car's looking pretty good. Troy Davidson now leading the way. There's a lap car in front of him. Hopefully he does not play a part in this one, but they'll come through 3 and 4. Will we see Troy Davidson, Adam Malone and Cade Donnelly come into pit lane this time around and try and cover off on what will be a pretty big undercut? No, we're not going to see that. So there we go. We saw Gary Wellman come in, and there's going to be a massive undercut, but it's what's it going to do for the other drivers that are going to pit later? They're going to have a lot stronger tyres and a lot stronger pace. So a lot to play out. We're 89 into 134. I get excited a little bit too early, but I don't think people understand how much tyre deg here in these supercars. You can gain a second a lap easily. As there we go, Troy Davidson into pit lane, and Cade Donnelly's teammates decided to follow suit. So the teammates are in, and Adam Malone's now taken the lead. So he is out there by himself, and we'll expect to see Adam Malone come in the pit lane, I'd suggest, this time around. Otherwise, he's going to be a sitting duck. So Adam Malone will make his way around that lap car down the back straight here at Atlanta Motor Speedway and go into turn number 3 and 4. This isn't going to put him in a good spot to go into pit lane if he does, and it looks like he's going again. So Adam Malone has saved a lot of fuel, and this is a different strategy here, Carl.
Yeah, he's going for that long, slight overcut. Himself, Raymond Yeager, Andy Barber, Nicholas Walsh, all trying that at the moment and keeping an eye on that. Raymond Yeager keeping it out there. He was just sitting nice and calm behind Justin Witcher for most of that run. I imagine just saving a little bit of fuel as that was behind him. Is that Gary Wellman, I think?
No, it's Nicholas Walsh trying to make the move up the inside of Raymond Yeager you're talking about?
Gary Wellman, yeah, he's got no rear wing, so
Oh, that's weird.
he's
My
lost.
live timing hasn't catched up. Thank you, live timing.
Yeah, so he's lost his boot. I don't know when that happened. I don't know if that happened in that big accident earlier on, but cool. Anyway, so he's got no rear wing on that car anymore, so that will make that thing interesting to drive, possibly a little bit less draggy. So
Yeah.
he's going for a slightly different aero approach.
Well, we do see in these supercars though on ovals that you don't really need a rear wing, and you can see how fast he is down the straight. It does not affect the way the car drives whatsoever. If anything, it gives you a little bit more of a top line speed, and you can see that with Gary Wellman just absolutely leaves the car in front to dead. But we'll see. That's probably a little bit of strategy on tyres as well.
I've not known of such thing as driving a skippy on an oval, knocking a wing off, it doesn't make a difference at all.
What we have seen, though, I don't know whether iRacing's done updates, when you've lost your rear wing on a supercar on an oval, it generally hasn't made a difference, and we're seeing that right now. But I could be made to be wrong.
Adam Malone in pit lane now, so he's coming in. Will we see Yeager coming in? No, Yeager's going a bit longer. So Yeager has done a great save in the 23. And is keeping it out there. So, yeah, it's always interesting to see how sometimes in all motorsport we see when these cars get a bit of a hit sometimes and lose certain bits of the car. Sometimes it makes them go quicker than they would have done normally, which is always to great frustration of the aerodynamicists and the team.
The pleasure of iRacing.
You have never seen the face of an aerodynamicist when there's a car that's lost something and gone quicker. It is a beautiful sight.
But on board with Jai Schultz now, Carl, he's up into second position, last through pit lane on lap 43, so he's got an extra lap of fuel, although the DSL welding service car does not look very good on the inside there. It looks a little bit like my car does every time I drive it, but he's up into the second position at the moment, so Jai's doing a good job there. He's currently, though, 28 seconds behind the current race leader and championship leader of Raymond Yeager. So Jai Schultz doing a good job. He got into that incident earlier, and he's still running around, still trying to just get some championship points. So Jai probably not in a position tonight to try and fight for this win, but he's still circulating and trying to get as much out of this fuel tank as he can to try and make his last pit stop as short as he can to see what points he can get out of this one tonight, Carl.
Yeah, that's it. It's all about sort of maximising the damage, really. He's a good second off the pace, unfortunately, and that sort of hurts when you're driving around like that, unfortunately. But you still got a chance in a rotor race. That's the thing, is never giving up. You never know what's going to happen. Ash Nazir coming into pit lane as well, so he's just come in from P3, coming in for his service. When is Raymond Yeager going to pit? That is the question, because how much fuel did he save? He must have a bit of an extra tank in his boot or something right now, because he is just keeping it out there a nice long time. Look at the concentration there, just thinking about where he's hidden that extra fuel tank in that car at the moment.
I've got a battle here, Carl. I've got a battle here, Carl. Sorry to cut you off. Justin Witcher, Barry Neal, Adam Malone, all those guys having an absolute ding-dong battle at the moment. I can see them there on what I'm looking at, if I'm looking at the same thing. Am I, or am I throwing you under the bus?
I believe you are. They are side by side at the moment. We've got two wide race, the 22 down on the inside of the one. Justin Witcher's pit time was much quicker than most of the cars around him, and that has gained him a lot of positions. We were talking about that early, weren't we, Aidan? The fact that if you come through and you save a bit of fuel, you don't spend as much time stationary, and that is exactly what Justin Witcher's done. And it is paid off beautifully there, getting him up into this race side by side with the long-term leader Barry Neal, as Raymond Yeager finally comes into pit lane.
Yeah, Raymond Yeager comes into pit lane, but Barry Neal, Justin Witcher, I told you Justin Witcher, as Raymond Yeager comes into pit lane, he's probably going to be left a little bit stranded here when he comes out. We'll see where he comes out of pit lane, but this battle is on like Donkey Kong, as they say. And Justin Witcher is getting that high side to work. And Adam Malone, he's still there or thereabouts and on that outside line as well. Troy Davidson, Davo, and we're 4 wide into turn number 1 and 2 in Atlanta. We've now clicked over 99 of 134, and this is where we click the race, boys. This is where we click the go button, and this is where we go to the end, unless there is a caution. But this is a battle for the lead of the motor race. We do have Cade Donnelly leading at the moment over Troy Davidson. They are a further 5 seconds up the road, but if these guys work together, they will close that gap sooner rather than later, as Barry Neal goes, no, I don't want to work with you, Justin Witcher, and I'm going to go inside the apron and try and get the job done down through number 1 and 2 here at Atlanta Motor Speedway once again. And Adam Malone with a big run down the back straight into 3 and 4, and he goes, I'm going to go into P number 3, into 3 and 4. So these guys, Carl, they really need to try and work with each other a little bit. They've got 4.4 seconds to catch up from Cade Donnelly and Troy Davidson at the front. The more that they battle like this, the harder it's going to be. But have a look at that live timing absolutely drop in front of your eyes. It's now 3.8, 3.7 seconds, and the leaders are coming back to Adam Malone, Justin Witcher, Todd Maxfield, and Greg Spencer sooner than I can say Spencer.
Yeah, look, they're eating away at the front guys as well. They are cutting into their time, which suggests that maybe Davidson and Donnelly took their tyres a little bit earlier in the stint, because these guys are a good 2 seconds quicker at the moment. They are absolutely flying along, and the lead that Troy Davidson and Cade Donnelly had is being eaten away at a vast rate of knots by Adam Malone, Justin Richard, Todd Maxfield. This massive group of cars here, and it's great to see. And Raymond Yeager's managed to hook himself onto the back end of this little battle as well. So he's in P7, so that long stay out worked out quite well for him.
It did, and that's one person we need to keep one eye on, because Raymond Yeager, your current championship leader, he's going to have really good tyres if he didn't take tyres through the first one. So just look at his pit time, 28.83, as opposed to everyone around him. Yeah, I'm not sure whether he's going to have enough to get up there. We'll see. He's got 6 seconds to gain on Greg Spencer at the moment in the 6th position. But one person we have to keep an eye on, and this has got nothing to do with my teammate, Adam Malone in 3rd position at the moment. Last through pit lane on lap 93, 31.77 through pit lane. He has freshies. He is catching the front. So he's going to have the racier car when it comes to the end. Does that mean anything? No, it doesn't here for the Australasian Supercar eSeries. As you saw Barry Neal just back off there, he's just trying to follow in behind. Justin Witcher there in 4th at the moment as well. So 2.2 seconds now, 105 laps into 134. So we've now got 29 laps to go, Carl.
So just quickly, I reckon Barry actually copped himself a penalty. We saw him coming in hot into the pit lane. He lost a lot of time. He's a lap down now. So I reckon he got a penalty there. So he is in this pack, but he is actually a lap down. I was sort of looking at that and looking at my live time.
We saw that when he came into pit lane. You made that reference that, you don't want to get a pit lane penalty, and you saw him lock up, and I probably sort of thought that in the back of my mind, and we didn't really think any of it, and we're just concentrating on the race. So Barry Neal's obviously had an issue there and probably had to do a drive-through or a 40-second hold there for a speeding in pit lane.
Yeah, it would have been a 40-second hold looking at the times. His stationary time, his time in pit lane was 1:36 through the whole thing, 1:11 stationary time. So that suggests to me that it was a 40-second stop and hold penalty there, which is really unfortunate because he had some really good pace tonight, but that has dropped him down a lap.
Yeah, unfortunate there for Barry after leading most of the early parts of this race. So it's now just a recovery mission for Barry and trying to get as many points as he can. So he'll just sit in behind the two-time reigning champion, Justin Witcher, at the moment, and see where he can come up. He's probably going to be waiting for a late caution, because if we do get a late caution, he will get the lucky dog. So he will be back up there and be able to fight for a position in this one. But
well, he's got a long way to catch, actually, because Tristan's just in front of him at the moment. So he's sitting behind Koch clock at the moment in 16th position, so he's got a little bit of time to make up there. He is catching quickly, so he should be past there. And Tristan, I'm sure, will do his best to fight for that lucky dog spot and make sure not to lose it, just in case. But there is a good little battle starting to form up. Troy Davidson still in the lead of this race with Kay Donnelly, but they are losing time very quickly. They're about a good couple of tenths off Adam Malone in pace. Adam Malone taking about 4 to 5 tenths of a second out of him every lap.
Yeah, he's about half a second quicker at the moment. He is absolutely driving a flawless race there in third position. He does have a lap car in between himself and Kay Donnelly and Troy Davidson, but Adam Malone, this could have been a masterstroke on strategy. There's a lot to play out yet. Will there be late cautions? We don't know, but Adam Malone in the number 4 Southern Stars Esports Racing entry, he's had a masterstroke on strategy. You just see that, how easy it is for him to put that car down the inside and get the drive off turn number 1 and 2. So in the next lap or two, or corner or two, we're going to see Adam Malone try and make a move for the lead of this motor race, as he does through 3 and 4, and he's going to do that easily, and that's going to make Troy Davidson and Kay Donnelly look like they were absolutely standing still. They're going to try a little bit harder on the outside to try and stop that happening. But in the 1 and 2, Adam Malone is going to run it in a little bit harder, and he's just going to have that tyre wear to be able to get that job done. Will he be able to clear him out of turn number 1 and 2? He can't do that. And as Adam Malone gets very loose as well. So there we go. Is that the wall of Adam Malone? He's pushed too hard to try and get there. So this is going to be interesting, Carl, as this race goes on.
He's just been dragging Justin Witcher along with him. Justin Witcher just sitting under the rear wing of Adam Malone, just sitting there going, yep, you keep wasting, you keep using up your tyres like that, you keep pushing really hard, and I'm just going to sit here in your draft and just accept this nice little bit of a drag along from you, and it's sort of sitting in the prime position to pounce at the moment, but Malone still setting some of the faster times out there, is really going along nicely, but as soon as he's got up side by side with Davidson, it's almost like he's stalled off a little bit. He can't quite make it work as well, as there's that little bit of aero wash coming onto the car, can't quite make it hold. And you see now Justin Witcher
Witcher up into the outside. That was really nearly devastation there, Carl.
Look, that is the precision you need to make a move like that. Millimetre perfect between two cars, just slotting it in, and that's where you hope that your race engineer is telling you the correct thing, that there is a car clear on the outside.
Yeah, well, I don't know if your crew chief is like mine. He lies to me all the time.
Exactly. I'm about to say,
so.
It very much depends on how your crew chief's feeling on the day, because sometimes it will say car clear, you'll go up there and all of a sudden you'll end up on your roof.
But what amazing racing this is at the front. 6-car battle for the lead. Adam Malone down the inside. Still, he's been trying for about 3 or 4 laps to get this job done on Troy Davidson. Kay Donnelly's going to be helping Troy Davidson on the outside there. Justin Witch has now decided to move his way up into the outside line. So now Adam Malone sort of left alone there on the inside line. Barry Neal's going to be in behind him. He's going to sit there and try and keep pushing him, as well as Justin Witcher goes really high there into 1 and 2. These guys, they're jockeying for position. They're trying to see where they need to be. We're 115 now into 134. We're getting down to the business end. This is where they're trying to play it out and try and see where they need to be as they get into the back end of this motor race. So this is not necessarily about leading. This is going who you're going to work with, where you're going to be as we go back to the front as well. So yeah, it's a bit of jockeying at the moment at the front here, Carl. But question for you, Carl. First time commentating the Australasian Supercar eSeries, of course, brought to you by My Private Seller. Done a lot of oval commentating and a lot of racing in your own right as well. How are you enjoying supercars around oval, mate?
Oh, look, it's been fantastic, and this is the kind of thing that we love about oval racing, is the closeness. We see sometimes on the circuits you do get this close racing, but you never get it this close. You don't get the top 6 separated by 0.8 of a second. That is very rare and very hard to have indeed, unless you're racing at somewhere like Monza back in the very, very old days of slipstreaming. It is always an enjoyable thing, and these supercars, they are just so beastly to drive. They are fantastic things to get whipping around a circuit. When you get them onto an oval, it is even more fun, and they're just monsters. That's one of the fun things about them. They're such a different car, different beast, not really designed for this style of racing, but they lend themselves perfectly to it, and they give us some great fun action to enjoy.
Yeah, they most definitely do, and that's exactly what you're seeing here on the InduSim Esports Network. And before we get into the back end of the racing, Carl, I hope you don't mind. I need to do a big shout out to those sponsors, as we do all the time here on the InduSim Esports Network for the Australasian Supercar eSeries, of course, brought to you by My Private Seller. If you're in the market for any little private cellar that you have in your home, if you have a thing for wine or beer or whatever, you want something in your home, jump onto My Private Seller. I tell you what, I might have to invest in that as well. Probably not when I'm racing, but I'll have to invest in that one, because jump on and be a part of that, because without those guys, we do not go racing here in the iRacing community, especially here for the Australasian Supercar eSeries, of course. Sim Racer Edge there up on the leaderboard. They supply all the setups here for the Australasian Supercar eSeries, so if you need a setup through your iRacing career, whatever it be, whatever car, whatever track, whatever you want to do, and you just want to improve yourself a little bit, go on to Sim Racing Edge, and they'll have a setup there to be able to help you out. And of course, also Ray White Rural Gander, Pete Matson, he's been a big supporter, and he was the naming rights supporter here of the Australasian Supercar eSeries for its first 2 years, and him up there in Harvey Bay, if you are in the market for some real estate, whether it be rental, whether it be buying, whether it be investing, anything you want real estate up through Gander, up in the Harvey Bay region in Queensland, jump onto Ray White Rural Gander. Of course, Witcher Electrics, Justin Witcher, two-time champion, down in the Victorian region. If you need any electrical assistance there, so he's an electrician, whether it be commercial, domestic, or anything like that, jump onto Witcher Electrics through your Facebook or the World Wide Web, and you'll be able to get involved in that. So big thank you to those sponsors. If we don't have them, we don't go racing, but we're now 122 into 134, and it is about to get loud, because we've got 12 laps to go, Carl, and we're about to crown the winner of round number 7 of the My Private Seller Australasian Supercar eSeries, as Adam Malone is still trying so hard on that inside line, but he's got Sim Boys on the outside. Troy Davison doing a great job in that mid to high line. He's got Kay Donnelly just pushing him around there as well. But have a look who's coming to play with this as well. Greg Spencer in 5th. Justin Witcher's teammate, as Justin Witcher just has a big lick into the outside wall as well. So we've got Pinnacle Esports in 4 and 5. We've got Sim Boys in 1 and 2, and we've got Southern Stars by himself there on the inside. So who's going to get this one, Carl? We're about to find out in 11 laps time.
Yeah, Troy Davison, I reckon his rear tyres have just completely fallen off the cliff. He's starting to struggle a lot. That rear of that car is wagging faster than a dog's tail. A few cars taking some big bites out the wall. One of them was Barry Neal. He had a big slam up into the wall, managed to keep it going, but did have the heavy contact with the right side of his car and has fallen off a little bit in pace. He is a lap down, of course, remember, but it has hurt him dearly. But Troy Davidson is still doing a fantastic job of leading this race at the moment. Kay Donnelly having a little bite in the wall as well. And Adam Malone just keeping it down low at the moment. He is doing a really good job of keeping the pressure on these boys. The faster they're trying to push these tyres, the more they're struggling. And you can just see with the way the rear ends are handling on the cars in the lead at the moment, they are starting to struggle. So 9 laps to go here. Anybody's race. Justin Witcher is sliding himself into a good position now. He is working his way through a bit like a chess match right here, trying to position himself. Adam Malone now getting down on the low side, putting himself into action, but they're all trying to position themselves in the right place to be at the right time. Watch how this goes. Don't discount somebody like Greg Spencer, Todd Maxfield, or Raymond Yeager as well, because he is up there in this battle. We've got a fair few cars up here still, and it is looking pretty good.
Yeah, definitely. And what we're seeing with Adam Malone, a little bit like the next-gen car, you can't get out of that draft. At the moment you get down below and don't have that side draft, you completely get stopped. So Adam Malone's now repositioned his car up into the mid to high line. So that's going to put him up in behind Troy Davidson, Kay Donnelly and Justin Witcher. And now he's actually gone down to the low line again. So he's got to probably, if Adam Malone wants anything to do with this one, he's got to get himself off the high line and try and get up into that draft and try and get a run. So if he can clear Justin here, which it looks like he does, he needs to drift right up and sit right in behind the draft of Kay Donnelly and Troy Davidson as we're 127 into 134. Not worry about Justin Witcher in behind him, but I tell you what, Justin Witcher will not let this one go. There's battles in the background as well, but have a look at this. What do we got here? That's Greg Spencer, a part of that one as well. He's going to make a move into turn number 1 and 2. He's got Raymond Yeager, your championship leader, in behind him as well. I'm not sure Raymond has the pace in the car at the moment to be able to fight for the win of this one, but he's doing a great job there and he's going to consolidate his championship lead. But we've got to go back to the front if we can, 128 into 134, because these 4 drivers, or 5 drivers, are now off into the distance. So Adam Malone, has he learnt what he has done wrong for the last 10 laps? Has Justin Witcher been watching? Has Todd Maxfield been sitting back there in the background going, I'm going to wait for another couple of laps? We're about to find out as we go down the back straight here at Atlanta Motorspeedway. And Adam Malone goes, no, I haven't learnt. I'm going to the inside again, and I'm going to try take the lead of the motor race here through turn number 3 and 4, lap 129 of 134, Carl.
Yeah, he's trying to get that draft working, but Davidson and Donnelly, teammates, of course, working together perfectly to keep Malone stuck behind them. He needs a draft partner to work with, and there isn't really anybody up there other than Justin Witcher who can help him at the moment. 4.5 laps to go right here. Malone trying once again to get the slingshot down. Gets a nice bit of side draft here. If he can slot himself up or make a slight advantage, it will work. But again, gets stalled out on that low line. Falls back and can't make it work.
He just can't do that, Carl. He's got to stop doing that, and then that's going to allow Justin Witcher now to go around the outside. He's got to follow the cars in front, and he's going to get stuck here now, and you're going to see Justin Witcher probably make the move around the outside. Maybe not fast enough this time around. So Adam Malone with 131 into 134. He needs to follow the line of Troy Davidson and Kay Donnelly and range right up onto the back of them. He can't make the move now. The move is going to be on the last corner. So he needs to drag right up onto the back of them and keep using their draft the whole way around. So it is now Troy Davidson, Kay Donnelly, Adam Malone, Justin Witcher. There is a lap car just in front of them as well. So it looks like Adam Malone, he did learn a little bit there, but it looks like those Simboys cars have got that draft at the moment, and we'll see what happens. 132 into 134. Adam Malone just needs to run a little bit higher. A little bit higher. He's going too low. It's just stopping his car through mid-corner. But we'll see how we go. We've got 2 laps to go here as we go across the line here. And that's the battle for 4th and 5th. That's Todd Maxfield. As Todd Maxfield goes into the wall as well. So the 4th and 5th at the moment looks like they're out of this one. So it's Troy Davidson, Kay Donnelly and Adam Malone who's going to fight out the lead of this one. We've got 1.5 laps to go as they make their way down into turns number 3 and 4 here at Atlanta Motorspeedway for round number 7 of the My Private Seller Australasian Supercar eSeries. It looks like it's going to be a Simboys 1 and 2 as Barney waves his white flag. Who's going to get it? Is it going to be Troy Davidson or Kay Donnelly? Kay Donnelly looking on the inside, thinks better of it as they go through 1 and 2. Adam Malone looks like that's all he's got and he's settled for 3rd position. So they make their way down the back straight for the last time tonight. They'll go into turns number 3 and 4. Kay Donnelly having a big dive down the inside of Troy Davidson. Can Kay Donnelly get the job done again? It looks like he does. Looks like Troy's just given up on that one. And Kay Donnelly's going to come home and he's going to take home the win here for round number 7 of the My Private Seller Australasian Supercar eSeries. Troy Davidson in 2nd and Adam Malone in 3rd. We got Todd Maxfield in 4th, Witcher in 5th, Spencer in 6th. Sorry there, Carl, I told you I get a bit excited.
Not a problem at all. I was watching the battle a little bit further back. Andy Barber did a great job of defending against Jaeger and Finley. Very nice job indeed. Nicholas Walsh as well, having a nice run up there for P8. Gary Wellman, a really good recovery drive in the Super Stream version, the newly announced streamlined version of the Ford Mustang, getting up into P7 in the end. Good recovery from him considering the damage, but Kay Donnelly, a beautiful victory there. Working really well, teammates working together. Adam Malone, really nice job as well to get that P3. Could not quite get the pass done for the win. Maybe that little bit of inexperience showing on the oval side of things there, and that could be something just in the future that he will pick up on and just get from strength to strength in other races. Keep an eye out for him. Justin Witcher, very nice strategy indeed for him, making up 17 positions in the end of that race.
Yeah, what an absolutely amazing race by all drivers. Adam Malone up 12 positions, Troy Davidson up 6, Kay Donnelly starting off the pole position. But we will go through your final positions here for round number 7 of the My Private Seller Australasian Supercar eSeries, if we can do that. So we'll go through your final positions anyway, because here we go. They've come up. So Kay Donnelly takes your win tonight here for round number 7 of the My Private Seller Australasian Supercar eSeries. Troy Davison with the Simboys 1-2 coming home in P number 2. Adam Malone from Southern Stars Esports Racing coming home in 3rd, with Toddy Maxfield coming home with another solid position here in 4th position, as we've got Justin Witcher in 5th. We've got Greg Spencer coming home in 6th position tonight. Gary Wellman in 7th. Nicholas Walsh in 8th. Andy Barber in 9th. We've got Raymond Yeager, your championship leader. That's going to bring him back to the championship contenders here tonight with the top 10. And he'll finish in 10th tonight. Christopher Finlay in 11th. Kobe Jordan in 12th. Nigel Payton in 13th. Barry Neal, unfortunate night for him with that speeding penalty, in 14th. Tristan Koch, Jai Schultz, the Lesser Schultz, he is the Lesser Schultz, I'll call him that, for tonight in 16th. Tommy Pritchard in 17th. Jamie Nankervis in 18th, Carl.
Yeah, then rounding out the field, 90th for Ash Nasir, Brett Campbell 20th and 21st. Aaron Dillon, Darren McKenzie 22nd, and Simon Ferris, the final of the drivers, in 23rd position, out early, unfortunately for him. What a fantastic race that was, and brilliant stuff there to the very end. Side-by-side racing. You got to love a close finish like that. It is exactly what we want to see in motorsport, exactly what we want to see in sim racing, and this is the kind of thing that we love calling for.
100% it is, and I hope you enjoyed your time here up in the InterSim Esports Network broadcast booth, mate. So it's an absolute pleasure to have you. I can get a little bit vocal at times, but it was good to actually call a race with you, mate. You're usually calling races that I run in, and it was an absolute pleasure, mate, to have you up in here, and one to tick off the bucket list, mate. So I really do appreciate that one. But without further ado, we'll bring up the podium place getters tonight, and we'll move up your 3rd place getter first and foremost. It will be Adam Malone. We'll have a chat to him and see how his race went tonight. So Adam Malone, number 4, Southern Stars Esports Racing. Aiden and Carl up here in the broadcast booth, mate. You're making a habit of this. 2 weeks ago, I was talking to you up here in the broadcast booth for the Australasian Supercar eSeries, and again, a P number 3. You've got to be happy with that one. Of course, you probably would have wanted another 1 or 2 spots, mate, but a good race there to get a P3 tonight.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Yeah, just trying to keep it nice and clean, and yeah, just I think I just pushed it a bit too early, too quick on that last stint there. But thought, yeah, it was just worth giving it a go, I guess.
Well, mate, we saw the Southern Stars guys early. You were sort of sitting back there mid-pack. Obviously, Darren McKenzie had a bit of an incident, probably mid-race, which was unfortunate for him, probably a little bit of his story for 2022. Andy Barber coming into the round in 2nd position as well. Good solid points for him as well. But, mate, you've been showing some really good pace in everything you've run lately, and This is the second time in 3 weeks we've been talking to you up here in the Indus Esports Network broadcast booth. So do I need to like set up a deck chair in my lounge room to try and get you to sit down in here to like chat to us every week? Because it's becoming a little bit of a same thing every week.
Nah, you don't need to keep a seat warm for me, mate, every week. Yeah, it's a bit of a shame with what happened to Darren there, but yeah.
Well, Carl, over to you, mate. You called Weekend Warriors through SimShed Broadcasting last night. You would have seen Adam Malone in there as well. And Carl Withy, I didn't know whether you knew that, Adam, that Carl was up in the broadcast booth with us tonight. And it was an absolute pleasure. Carl, over to you, mate, and have a bit of a chat with that.
Yeah, great to see you up here, Adam. We've seen you really starting to charge through the field and getting those pace up for you as well. Obviously, as you said there, just that last bit of a run, you pushed a little bit too soon, too early. Just a bit of a mistake running up front, sort of bit too fast, too soon. Do you feel like you should have left it a little bit later with that one?
Yeah, most definitely, mate. I should have just waited and just cruised to at least the last 10 laps, and I think that's when I should have put my foot down.
Did you find it hard once you got out of the draft? So it looked like the car was starting to stall a bit when you sort of jumped out from behind that Simboy sandwich in front of you.
Yeah, I just missed the turn there a couple of times. I think that's what lost the draft. But once I caught back onto it, I was onto them. But the Sim boys just were too quick tonight.
Well, you absolutely brought the race to them. Congratulations for that. Look forward to seeing you back out on track. Hopefully you can make it 2 steps higher for the next race.
Yeah, hopefully. I'll get there one day.
Oh look, it comes when you least expect it. That's when it happens.
Yeah, that's right.
No worries, ladies and gentlemen. There you go, your P3 getter tonight. Number 4, Southern Stars Esports Racing entry of Adam Malone coming home here in 3rd place, round number 7 of the My Private Seller Australasian Supercar eSeries here from Atlanta Motorspeedway. But that will make us move up Mr. Troy Davidson into the broadcast booth. Troy Davidson, mate. Aidan Carl Withy here in the broadcast booth, mate. No stranger here to talk to us here on the Indosim Esports Network. You had it won last corner. Your teammate Cabo got it done, mate. But P2, another good result there by Davo on the 023.
Yeah, cheers, gents. Yeah, it was a pretty event-free sort of race, and mid-track seemed to be working for the tyres and speed, majority of the race, and we had a little bit of a plan there, and I sort of missed a couple of races in the championship, so yeah, we sort of let that slip through, and it was a good fun race though.
Well, mate, we saw a little bit of a different strategy thing there. Like, obviously, we saw the midline work a little bit more. You guys were working really well together. You probably had 4 or 5 cars there in the top sort of 7 or 8 early on. We saw Barry Neal leading it early on. It's probably like a similar story every time I talk to you up here in the broadcast booth. I'm saying, oh, what were you thinking when they're running hard? And you just sort of seem to do your thing, and you're always there or thereabouts at the end. There's just something with you guys in these supercars, and you're there or thereabouts. But in a more positive note, although, Sim Boys 1 and 2 once again, at least Kay Donnelly didn't finish it on his lid.
Yeah, we thought it was a ripper there last week or week before I think it was, when he won it, and we thought it was all over, but then sort of watched the replay and he managed to win it upside down in the middle of there, and it was a ripper, that one. But we sort of kept check on Barry tonight. I sort of, after his display last week, I thought I'm not letting him out of my sight, and sort of he pushed it a couple of times, and the pace was there, but I just managed to, with this draft, to sort of keep tabs on him. But I don't know if he got a black flag in the pits or sort of what happened there, but I noticed he dropped back a bit.
Well, I think he got done for speeding, and if you can still hear us, just take yourself off mic mute, because we'll need to talk to you again shortly. But Barry Neal just, looks like he got done for speeding, but a little bit of a different voice up here in the broadcast booth. I'm going to say it again, Carl. You've spoken to these boys in a lot of things, but first time here in the Australasian Supercar eSeries, so over to you.
Yeah, it's been a while since we had a bit of a chat. Good day, Troy. Welcome So they're both just on the single caution we saw tonight. I mean, it's nice to only see one of them. Your situational awareness there, you were just sort of sitting towards the back of that pack when the car came out of pit lane, and you obviously sort of saw that one coming.
Yeah, hey Carl. Yeah, welcome over to this series. Yeah, that was that sort of made the heart jump a few notches. It's yeah, only just sort of got through. I think with whoever got caught out, but whoever got through, wasn't much in it. But yeah, that could have been a night over. But I'm not sure what exactly happened there. But yeah, it sort of she was pretty tight there for a couple of seconds.
Yeah, it definitely looked like one of those moments where it was heart in mouth. Was just rewatching some of that a little bit earlier on, and you just picked your way nicely through that, of course. So that made a big difference. And obviously, strategy tonight, getting in the pit lane when you did, it sort of paid off well for you.
Yeah, it's not. We sort of thought the tyres might have, like in qualifying, you had to push real hard, and we sort of thought, the tyres are going to go off real quick, but managed to sort of double stint and still have a bit in the kitty sort of thing, and yeah, just get that fuel for the race to the end. And it was actually a fairly easy strategic night, really, but just had to, I think in this series, you just always got to play it careful and try to be thereabouts at the end and leave your run for the end if you've got enough in the tank, sort of thing.
Worked out well. Congratulations on a solid run tonight, and well done again on P2.
Yeah, cheers, mate.
Well, we'll just get you hang around for a little bit longer, Troy. We'll bring up your teammate, Cabo, Cade Donnelly. No stranger to P1 here for the Australasian Supercar eSeries, mate. I'm sure you're sick of hearing my voice, mate, but at least you finished the race in P1 on your four wheels tonight, mate. I'm sure you're happy with that one.
Yeah, upright's good, mate.
Mate, what a race, though. We all have a joke, but what a race, Australasian Supercar eSeries. Not the race you probably would have wanted last week at the Indianapolis 400, but back up in the pointy end tonight, and big congratulations on your P1, and that's going to help you on your championship points.
Yeah, no, last weekend was, it sucked, to be honest, but that comes with it. It's a stoked to be here tonight.
Well, mate, what was the difference tonight? You put it off pole. You sort of set yourself back, sort of mid-pack early on, or sort of just outside the top 10, and just sort of ran your way around. What was your strategy coming into the race?
Definitely tyres. Yeah, definitely tyres. We knew we would have had to double stack or stint a set of tyres. That yellow obviously helped a bit, but still, sort of just got to look after him in that first run for as long as possible to allow, a good hard run at the end. Well,
Carl, I'll jump across to you, mate. As I said, always a new voice up here in the Intersim Sports Network, so I'll jump across to you, mate.
Yeah, good day, Kate. Always a pleasure to have a bit of a chat to you. Well done on and great defensive driving at the end, keeping Adam Malone and Justin Witcher behind you as well. How tough was it just to keep them out of your draft effectively?
Yeah, it was a bit tricky. Sort of didn't want anything bad to happen, of course. We sort of seen the pack coming and were hopeful that they'd burnt the rubber off enough by the time they caught us. And then, the middle groove was the groove to be in, and just said to Troy, as long as we stick our cars there and go nose to tail, it's going to be hard for them. So that's how we went about it.
So with tyres, did you take them on the first or the second stop?
The second stop, yeah.
Okay, it was one of those interesting. You're trying to work that out sometimes, but yeah, you seem to pull out a really nice big gap early on, and then that group caught up relatively quickly to you. Was that just you guys just keeping it sort of nice and steady, just not burning off the rubber too much, so you had something to fight with at the end?
Yeah, and although they had a fairly big group, but whoever was in it, there's a few cars in that group, so they obviously had more pace, but we were also aware that we didn't want to push too hard too soon to burn the rubber off before we got to the checker, No,
a really well managed race for you, and a good night as well for the team, with yourself, Troy, of course, Todd Maxfield up in P4, Gary Wellman managing to get 7th as well, and I think just outside the top 10 was Finley as well. So really nice job for the team tonight. I imagine you're pretty happy with that result.
Yeah, for sure. Stoked.
Congratulations on a magnificent win. Well done, Kate.
Thanks, mate.
Well, while I got you guys, just really quickly, Adam Malone, I'll jump back to you, mate. We haven't had an opportunity yet. P3 tonight here for round number 7 of the My Private Seller Australasian Supercar eSeries here from Atlanta Motorspeedway. Adam Malone, mate. Big shout out to your sponsors, everyone involved tonight, mate, that brought you home in P3.
Yeah, cheers, mate. We got SkyPoint, Michi XL Garage, Tiona Holiday Park, and the Southern Stars Esports team. And obviously you guys, mate.
No, it's definitely all Carl tonight. Definitely all Carl, not me, mate. Got nothing to do with anything to do with Indesim, but that's all right. But no, in all seriousness, no, we appreciate that, mate. Absolutely stellar job to get a P3 tonight. Across to you, Davo, mate. I know you got a lot of new sponsors on board tonight, or in the last couple of months, mate. So big shout out to everyone for yet another podium for the Sim Boys.
Yeah, just cheers. Firstly, the broadcast, you guys with the broadcast, the series, and then just United Electrical, our sponsors, Hot Toddy Heat Installations, Ferris Shifters, and probably a bit of another one, just bit of a tribute to my dad that passed away a few weeks ago. So yeah, a bit of a shout out to him.
Well, sincere apologies to that, mate, and our condolences. And it's never a good thing to go through. So, mate, our condolences, and I'm sure you did him proud tonight, mate. So, well done there on your P number 2. So, yeah, tough time. Don't really not know what to say there, mate. But I'm sure you did him proud, mate, and he'll be looking down there and be loving seeing you getting up into P number 2 and having your teammates doing well. So, congratulations, mate.
Nah, thanks, mate. Yeah, really appreciate it. Cheers.
And over to you, Cabo, mate. P number 1. Big shout out again. Similar sponsors, obviously, to Troy, but big shout out tonight.
Yeah, obviously to you guys for the broadcast. Australasian Supercar eSeries for the series. Yeah, then we got United Electrical Solutions, and Hot Toddy's heating hot plates. And shout out to Ferris Shifters too, if you do yourself a favour and get a Ferris Shifter.
Well, hopefully Simon backs up for next week. So he had a bad run tonight. If that's a Ferris that I think it is, he had a pretty bad run tonight. But mate, congratulations again on your P number 1. But ladies and gentlemen, your 1, 2 and 3 tonight here for round number 7 of the My Private Seller Australasian Supercar eSeries. It was Kay Donnelly taking home the W with Troy Davidson and Adam Malone rounding out your P3. Carl Withy, first night in the booth with me, mate, and in the Australasian Supercar eSeries, mate. Baptism Fire. Hope you enjoyed that one.
Absolutely, look, fantastic action out on track, and that's exactly what I love to see. As I said to you before the broadcast, I'm here for all of the racing, and I love to see it improving, and the broadcasts and the commentary side as well, because it adds to the whole series and the whole aspect of everything. And when we get races like that, it makes our jobs so much easier.
100%, and you did an absolutely sensational job, mate, and it was an absolute pleasure having you in the booth. Hopefully it's not the last time. And hopefully all the viewers enjoyed it here on the Indesim Esports Network. I look forward to hopefully talking to you in Victory Lane sometime soon in a race car. But for now, we'll just leave it to the broadcast booth. But that does bring to an end round number 7 of the My Private Seller Australasian Supercar eSeries. Once again, Cade Donnelly, Troy Davidson and Adam Malone did take home your podium positions tonight. But that's not where it all stops here on the Indesim Esports Network. We'll go live tomorrow night for the Molecule Australia Pro Car TCR Series here on the Indesim Esports Network live from 7:15 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time or 6:15 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, wherever you may be. Then on Wednesday night, we'll go back to the SkyPoint TCR League from the same time from 7:15 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time or 6:15 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, wherever you may be. But then you will join us back here next Sunday night where we will bring you round number 8 of the My Private Seller Australasian Supercar eSeries. And we're going Super Speedway racing again. We're going Nashville Super Speedway, and we're looking forward to bringing you that one. Will it be your championship leader, Raymond Yeager, being able to take home the spoils? Will Kay Donnelly go back-to-back? Will Troy Davidson get there? Will it be Simboys 1, 2, 3? Will Adam Malone finally be able to take the win? We'll find out. Be sure to tune in here on the IndySim Esports Network next Sunday night to see that. But for myself, Carl Withy, Paul Jackson, and Pete in behind the cameras, we thank you for tuning in here on the IndySim Esports Network. We hope you enjoyed all the action. Hope you have a good night, and we'll see you next week.